Hello and welcome to
Thank
the
you.
Everything is Roses podcast. This is episode 1 of a great journey, and I thank you for choosing to join us. So, my name is Rafid Mahmoud, and I'm joined here by my wonderful co-host.
Paulo Cummins.
Yes, Paulo. Why don't you go ahead and tell our wonderful viewers here about why we're here, what we're going to be doing, and how they too can be a part of it.
Thank you very much for the intro.
You're welcome.
We are simply university students who've decided to make a podcast. What makes it unique is our fresh perspective on all topics. We bring the students studying abroad lens into the latest news, interesting topics, and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So, how can you be a part of us? It's simple. In our advertisements, we may have a QR code that is still to be decided, but once you scan or join the link or such, you can hit us up with your contact information, and then you can join us simply on our podcast. We are in Paris, and if you are in our university, that'll maybe be easier, but anyways.
Yes. As Paulo said, if you are in our university, which is the American University of Paris for Paulo, and for me it's the CCFS, which is a French language school. So if you go to those, you're free to hit us up. If you see us around, then yeah, come to us and we'll hook something up.
Very good.
Yes.
So,
now that that's finished, now that the small talk has finished, let's get into what you came here for.
space and aliens.
Exactly. I know you all love space and aliens especially. I love aliens.
Do you?
I do.
Why?
Well, I've never met one, and I want to meet one, because I feel like they would have an interesting perspective, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, because they had to travel through light years worth of distance to get to our planet.
That's right.
And if there truly is a being capable of doing that, then they must have a wide array of wisdom that they could share with us.
That's true. They must be smart.
Exactly. And we're not smart. No.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Okay. Are aliens actually aliens? But let's get more specific.
Mm-hmm.
Are the aliens that could be here
Yeah.
based on the multitude of sightings from citizens and even the government? Are these things actually from a distant planet, or are they maybe us from the future? What do you think?
Well, I think that's delving into the realm of conspiracy.
That's true.
But
this is all conspiracy.
Yes, that is true. It's conjecture, though it is backed by a lot of evidence.
No.
Not your statement. I'm just saying
Like
alien
witnesses.
existence.
Witnesses.
Alien
kinda.
existence.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you brought up the subject of time travel.
Yes.
Do you
that's
believe
right.
it's a possibility?
I think it is the most probable case.
Really?
Yeah. And I'll
you
tell you why.
Did you see those videos of time travelers in New York?
I have.
And it's like that dude that just walks by and he has a slightly modern hat and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, he came from 2050.
Nah, I don't really. I don't know. I don't know if I really believe in the legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even pronounce the word
Mm-hmm.
of those videos, but I think in terms of aliens,
Yeah.
I feel like it is most probable that they are perhaps us from the future.
Oh.
And let's be, first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about this. There is a possibility that aliens exist, yes, because the universe is so expansive. There are so many planets, okay? So let's just say, yes, we can agree that aliens exist. But what are the chances that the aliens here in our planet are actually from a different planet? Because when you think about it, out of all of the planets, moons, and all that we have come across, none appear to have any living organisms on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what would kind of be the chances of, out of all the planets, that you have an ancient civilization, or not an ancient, whatever, futuristic civilization that has the capabilities, first, to travel here, and second, even the desire to do that, right? What are the chances of that? Probably slim,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thinking about that, I would say they're pretty high.
Why?
Because as technology advances, it's kind of the natural evolution of the brain to kind of want to go back and streamline things. Like if you had the opportunity to go back in time and just make life easier for yourself, the average human would take that chance.
No, but I'm talking about like I'm not talking about us from the future. I'm talking about like aliens.
Oh,
Like
but you're saying us from the future are aliens, though.
yeah, no. So what I'm saying in general, I think that it is more probable that it is us from the future
Mm-hmm.
that are what we would consider the aliens in our planet.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like for the argument that these things, these beings are actually just aliens from some other planet or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's less probable that that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That they're from another planet.
yeah,
That's less probable than us. Than it just being us from the future.
exactly.
I see.
Because I mean you can have the total advanced civilization that we can think of, right,
Yeah.
in a distant planet, but what is to say that they actually do want to travel to Earth or to discover? This is a purely based on human mentality,
Mm-hmm.
that the desire to go expand and to explore, that's just our desires, but they could have completely different desires because at the end of the day we're both raised in different environments and such.
Hmm.
And so I'm thinking that it's more probable for it to be future humans.
Mm-hmm.
And also, millions of years in the future, time traveling could exist.
Yeah.
And that desire to visit older humans, I
Yeah.
mean, that seems probable, no?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, but I would argue that even if it's a different civilization altogether, even if the time frame is different and there's such a vast disparity in time between us,
Mm.
to the point where they live in completely different ways, still, though, human nature stays the same.
But they're not humans.
Well, I mean, they are, though. If they are
Wait.
from the
Oh,
future,
you're talking about the future.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm saying, like, if they're from the future, even if those differences exist, the nature is still the same.
Oh, no, I was still talking about the other
Oh,
aliens.
okay. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page.
We're not completely two different
Well, it's
pages.
okay. We represent the viewers, the
Right.
conflict.
Now
of the
they're
viewers.
confused.
We're confused too.
Confusing everyone.
Well, it's fine. You know?
Okay, so how about this? Let's
So-
ignore the aliens from other planets. Let's
No,
focus
yeah,
on
exactly.
these aliens. Okay.
So I would say if that is the case, which I would think, yeah, it's very likely that that would be the road that we lead down.
Yeah.
Because we've encountered things that bend time.
Yeah.
For example, black holes.
Mm.
The event horizons and these phenomena that occur inside the black holes,
Yeah.
they distort time as well.
Mm.
Like if you enter the event horizon of a black hole, you experience time at a much accelerated rate, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist, so don't.
Oh, you sound like it.
Well, I mean, I am now for the sake of this podcast.
Very nice.
But yeah, I think like 50 years can pass by in the blink of an eye for you if you're in the black hole's event horizon.
Right.
So if we found a way to channel that concept and turn it into something we can use,
Mm.
then, and if it becomes something that's that easy to use,
Yeah.
to where it's something that doesn't require a huge amount of resources,
Mm.
then it's just up to leisure.
Right.
Like you can just go back in time if you want to.
Yeah.
And if it came to that, then you would. Totally.
Yeah. It's not impossible to think of. And I think like even the fact that when you look at a distant star,
Mm-hmm.
that star could be like I forgot how it is.
Yeah,
but it's
you're
like it could
seeing
be-
light from like thousands of years ago.
right in
Because
the
light
past.
travels at a very fast rate.
Right.
So the light that you're seeing is actually light that has already passed by
Right,
that
right.
area. It's just a remnant because it travels so fast.
Exactly. So it's like if somehow we were able to get technology that could make us travel faster
Yeah.
than anything that we could think of, then yeah, I mean, time travel does seem very much possible.
Yeah.
And but even the fact that I always think about
Mhm.
is just if there are visitors from the future, I mean, it is entirely possible for that to be the case now
Mhm.
with all these sightings and such, because you can have I know it's so hard to explain, but
Mm-hmm.
Visitors could come from at any point
Mm-hmm.
in the future, and they could go to any part in the past.
Yeah.
So what is to say that they aren't here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind
No,
of
I get what you mean. It's kind of like a what if it's already happened
right
situation.
Right. Yeah.
We wouldn't know. We wouldn't be any the wiser.
Right.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it is fun to think so. Because, I mean, you have to have this kind of thinking for things to be interesting a bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Keep things spicy in life.
Right.
But I agree. I mean, it would be very, very cool to have that exist
Mm.
with time travel. And it's such an interesting concept because there's no way to visualize it.
Yeah.
Like, the stream of time isn't anything that we completely understand.
Right.
All we know is it moves in one direction.
Yeah.
And
No pun.
I was trying not to. Anyway, it moves in one direction. And then Zayn Malik left.
No. Stop.
But yeah, so we don't know how to reverse it
Right.
yet.
Yet.
But who's to say? Maybe we do. Maybe time travel already exists. Let's discuss that.
All right.
What if it's already a concept? What if people are utilizing it and have went back to the past already?
I like this energy.
Yeah. What if it has already been a thing? Forget the future.
All right. Forget
Yeah,
it.
forget it.
Can we go to the past?
Yes.
Well,
Do you believe so? Do you believe there is a chance that time travel has already been invented and it has just been kept under very tight covers to completely hide it from the public eye? And it has already been utilized.
I don't personally think it's like a government secret type thing.
Well, it doesn't have to be government. Maybe like a
But-
private endeavor.
Beyond, like, just that in general, I don't think the technology has been made by us right now.
Mhm.
But I do think it is possible for this technology to have already been made
Mhm.
by future beings.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're tying the future into it.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, you don't want to talk.
Well, it's all right.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like, and it's so weird, but time's almost like a circle in that way because
Yeah.
it's like you can have these future beings with a time
Mhm.
machine, whatever,
Yeah.
coming to our present time,
Mm-hmm.
and thus they kind of have that machine with them.
Yeah,
I would say,
exactly.
and so technically we got the machine now,
Yeah, and then we get into butterfly effects,
right? Like
Which
who
that's-
affects who, and
Yeah. which is the scariest thing to me. Like if you time travel and maybe you move a coin or a single blade of grass,
right,
and somehow that kind of rolls into these effects that are catastrophic.
yeah,
So that I would be most afraid of that if that is a reality thing,
yeah,
where if you build a time machine and you go back, making the most minimal change will have the most drastic effect.
right.
That would be terrifying. I wouldn't do anything. I would be too afraid to even time travel.
Yeah, that's true. But that also could explain why there could be this presence. Again, we're just diving deeper into this one singular conspiracy theory, but
Mhm.
the reason that these, I don't know if they could even be called aliens, but
Mhm.
let's say future people, the reason why these future people could be here is for that reason, to
Yeah.
change the past so that the future could be changed maybe positively for them.
Mhm.
I guess it all kind of comes down to their personal interest.
Yeah.
They want to, maybe they're dealing with a huge, I don't know, climate crisis or
Yeah.
whatever,
Exactly.
and that they see the kind of origins of this crisis.
Mhm.
They want to fix it
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very good example. Like climate change in general,
Yeah.
because it's leading to a global catastrophe as we know it,
Yeah.
and it's not slowing down at all.
Right. Faster.
Exactly, it's going faster, and these companies are the ones to blame for that, and they're not really doing much for it. So it's not that far-fetched to say that someone from the future who gets to experience these results, maybe our children or their children, and they are unhappy with the situation, and by then maybe the technology exists for time travel.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too far of a guess to say they travel back to fix the issue.
Yeah.
Like you see that in movies all the time, where there's a problem,
Mm.
like an apocalypse in the future, and the main protagonist goes back in time to kill the guy
Right.
who caused it. Isn't that the plot of Terminator?
I don't even know.
Have you seen Terminator?
I have, but it's
Really?
been a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that's also the interesting thing, though,
Mm.
because like all these new conspiracies that have kind of come about, and
Mm.
I'm just kind of basing this because I've recently watched this Netflix documentary
Mm-hmm.
that's like in top 10 Netflix right now.
No.
Um, and
What's it called?
it's like Aliens Investigator or something like that,
Okay.
or maybe the other way. Um, and it's kind of interesting because these stereotypical things
Mm-hmm.
about aliens that you see in the movies, as you kind of pointed out, like the grays, what they look like, the cows being abducted by ships and such.
Mm-hmm.
There's weirdly conspiracies about those in real life
Yeah.
with interesting quote unquote evidence.
Yeah.
Like there's and I've talked with you about this before, but like these cows that are being mutilated for some reason in this specific way,
Mm-hmm.
all around different ranches in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and even I think in other countries or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, what? Like the
Yeah.
movies are kind of, maybe they're based on this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
but
feel like they would be based on a lot of these real life events
yeah,
because that's typically how it goes.
right.
And there's been, yeah, as you said, a lot of evidence for this kind of situation is based in mostly the States.
Yeah.
You don't really see
us
it
in the
much elsewhere,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Why? I'm not really sure why that is, why it's mostly focused in the US. Because you'd think there would be like an even spread of these kinds of situations in other countries as well. But it seems to be predominantly only in the States.
I mean, I think it's a huge part of Hollywood. I think Hollywood giving awareness to this in general is
Yeah.
why there is such an emphasis on aliens. I mean, I think they kind of go hand in hand, Hollywood and legit kind of conspiracies, because
Mm-hmm.
you have these conspiracies kind of brought to life by Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
but then kind of people are perceiving these conspiracies as totally fictionalized and rooted in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But then actually, like the cows example,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps it's like the Hollywood that is based on these conspiracies. So it kind of
Yeah.
goes in a circle and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is interesting that, I mean, I guess it is because of these movies that people have this heightened awareness
Mm-hmm.
and are looking in the sky for, oh, that must be a
Yeah.
UFO.
And I mean, there's been tons of reports by U.S. Air Force personnel as well
Yeah.
about these aircrafts or these UFOs.
Yeah.
About them moving at extremely high speeds that shouldn't be possible
Right.
yet. And so that kind of ties back to the time travel thing.
Yeah.
Where if in the future maybe we make contact and we find a way to harness that technology into our technology.
Mm.
And so doing that, maybe we can work towards figuring out the equation of time travel.
Yeah.
And then maybe that would open up the gateway.
That's right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And
We
now,
see the threads.
yeah, the threads are connecting,
Exactly.
being sewn together into.
It's like watching a
Shirt.
scarf being knitted in front of you.
That's right.
Yeah.
But let me bring another thread to this
Alright.
discussion. See
Alright.
what I did there?
True. You're very good at connecting things.
Thank you. Now, what was interesting in this documentary was that, I don't know if it was some simulation that they did on the computer or whatever, of how the stereotypical gray kind of image, big eyes, kind
Mhm.
of small body.
Yeah. Hourglass figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is an
They should
evolved.
be models.
No.
No? Don't discriminate.
No.
man.
Okay. Anyways, we're gonna go
Yeah.
beyond that. Are evolved versions of humans
Mhm.
millions of years in the future.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that's what they found through
Yeah.
doing the simulation?
Exactly.
Interesting.
So that kind of brings a new lens, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I'm curious as to how they did that and what the parameters were for that experiment.
I have no idea. I mean,
Mhm.
I guess it's just based on our new habits, like looking at technology,
Yeah.
screens and such. Maybe, I mean, I don't know how that could make our eyes bigger.
Dude, I
but-
don't want to look like that.
Do you though?
No. I don't want to look like that.
That's true. Yeah.
Like,
No.
look at them. I'm not shaming or discriminating. They
Well,
look beautiful
Probably
In their own
insulted
way.
right now.
in their own way. I earlier I said they could be models.
Okay.
Victoria's Secret runway models.
No, I don't even want to picture that.
Well, get ready for it.
Anyways, we're gonna
That'll
move
be our
on.
future.
No, no.
I'll invent time travel
No,
just
no.
to make that a reality.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I mean, that's interesting though, that the natural evolution would go that far and make us into that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a simulation. You can't really put that much credit into it
Of course.
because nature is very, very hard to predict. It's not something that follows a strict pattern.
Yeah.
We only think it does because we have past evidence.
Yeah, of course.
Predicting the future is kind of difficult.
Right.
But again, I'm not a bioscientist.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they call it,
No,
but
just
well, that
it
clearly
sounded smart.
that
you know.
clearly proves that I'm not a bioscientist.
Right.
Because if I was, I would know what my job title was.
Right.
Biologist. There we go.
That sounded better.
Yeah,
It sounded
Just
more
the sound.
legit.
yeah. The sound is what we go off of.
Yeah.
We're very simple, man.
Okay.
We're not going to be inventing time travel.
No.
It's not
We'll-
going to be us.
We'll talk about it though.
Yeah, and pretend like we know what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
So I mean, that's a good point that you bring up. You
Yeah,
know, we
and
don't
so-
actually know, but
Yeah, and I want to ask you,
ask
as
me.
a child, were you fascinated with space?
So fascinated with space.
Did you watch those videos on YouTube
Yeah.
where it was like how black holes work?
Yeah, of course.
We're slowly dying.
Yeah,
That one's a lot more morbid.
it is.
But I mean, you know,
Yeah.
did you see those videos?
I was always fascinated with
Mhm.
those videos. I've always had an interest in space.
Mhm.
I think anyone kind of has some level of interest.
Yeah,
Even the flat earthers,
I've never met one actually. Have you?
neither. Do they actually exist?
I mean, we're probably just looking in the wrong places. We need to go to like America.
I am from America.
Yeah, we need to go to
Okay.
America.
All
We
right.
should go to America.
And find a flat earther.
Yes. And bring them on the pod. If you are a flat earther listening to
Please
this right now,
hit us up.
please sign up. No offense meant to you. You're free to believe what you want. That's the beauty of life. So come on and share your perspective. And, you know, we'll be happy to have you.
Yes, we are so curious about
Yes.
your beliefs.
Exactly. And we're so cute. We're going to cut that.
What?
Well, you said so curious, and I thought you were going to say so cute, but then you didn't say that, obviously.
No, I didn't.
All right, cool.
I think that was just a slip. Like,
that was a Freudian slip. Pardon me. So yeah.
it's kind of hard to move on from that.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
But yeah, as a kid, I was fascinated by space. I actually wanted to be an astronaut. Like,
Oh,
I'm
really?
sure a lot of
Yeah.
other people listening can relate.
Mm.
But then I realized that, oh no, you have to be good at math and physics
So that's a no-go.
and chemistry. And I was not any of those things.
It's all right.
So dreams got crushed quite quickly.
But let's say, you were still a child,
Mhm.
still wanting to be an astronaut.
Mentally, I am.
Why?
Why I'm a child?
No.
Oh.
Why you want to be an astronaut?
Oh, okay. Because I could have talked about that.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, it makes you realize the scale of life.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that you're actually a lot smaller. Because it's crazy because we live inside our own lives.
Yeah.
That sounds dumb, but it's the truth. You live inside yourself. You have your own perception.
Mm.
You can't enter into someone else's mind and perceive things in the way they perceive things.
Yeah.
So naturally, every person then starts to think that I'm the center of the universe
Right.
because everything revolves around me. At least that's how I perceive it. Not me personally, I'm saying in general.
Right.
And so when that happens, you have to realize that no, you're actually a tiny droplet
Yeah.
in an endless ocean that expands exponentially.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the allure of space is. Because there's two reactions to that information. Either you're terrified, which happens a lot when people realize how small they really are in comparison to the elements in the universe. They tend to have a very terrified reaction because at a very young age, you're not exposed to the idea of death
Yeah.
and these kind of concepts. And the second reaction is to be completely fascinated by it.
Mm.
I think there is a middle ground, but typically it tends to fall into one of these two reactions. And for me, I was utterly fascinated by it. I was never really afraid of death and all these kind of abstract concepts as a kid. So I delved into these topics and wanted to learn more. And it fascinated me as I continued to learn more about black holes, neutron stars, and supernovas, and all these, and super mega black holes. Like that, you've probably seen those videos where it's like size comparison
Yeah.
between Earth, the solar system, black holes, the sun, and then super mega black holes. And just even trying to comprehend the difference in size is just incomprehensible.
Right.
So it's like a sandbox, you know, and we're just a single grain, and outside of that sandbox is just a giant beach.
Yeah.
So you naturally want to learn more about it and explore it. So I think that's what space kind of offers in becoming so engrossing and alluring.
Right. It's humbling.
Yeah.
And I mean, you even kind of can see that from base level. Like, if you're living in a small town in America, you're kind of, maybe you're so attached to that small community. You never traveled. You never kind of ventured off somewhere. Your entire personality, your thinking is all kind of centralized to that one town. You develop within that town. And to just put you in a different country all of a sudden, that's almost like that. It kind of translates to what you're describing, because
you feel like an alien.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And from that experience, you are, like what you said, kind of a dot in this humongous kind of canvas, really. And I mean, that is interesting. It is. You can think in those terms. And they also apply even in our everyday lives. With that, though, we are a very short episode-focused podcast.
That is true. Well, that's not always going to be true. But for the first episode, we want to keep it short and sweet.
Right.
To give you a little taste.
Yes.
Keep you coming back for more, you know?
We're like TikTok, you know? Okay,
I'm
we're
not
not
gonna,
like TikTok.
I'm not going to agree with that. I was very close to agreeing with that. We're not like TikTok. This is not brain rot content.
We're going to keep your dopamine levels high.
Yes.
So we're going to keep this short.
We're expanding your brain. Or diminishing it. Probably diminishing
Probably diminishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So yeah, if you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to follow us on Spotify. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe. Leave a comment. Any constructive criticism or criticism in general, we will be taking it.
We will.
Don't be too harsh, otherwise
be harsh.
I will cry.
And then we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.